We have updates in the tragic story of Helena Hutchins. Alec Baldwin was given a prop gun. It was a real gun that was supposed to be filled with blanks, but sent projectiles flying, a bullet. While it was a freak accident, prosecutors say criminal charges may not be off the table.
In reference to possible charges, it's too early right now in the investigation to comment on charges at this point.
All options are on the table at this point. I'm not commenting on charges, whether they will be filed or not, or on whom.
Right now, they have roughly 600 pieces of evidence from the set, and Baldwin is fully cooperating with investigators because, I mean, who wouldn't? When you're given a gun on a movie set, you have to trust that your armorer has everything 110% safe. There are so many safety protocols on a film set. It's bewildering to think somebody would actually let something like this actually happen. That is until you meet the armorer. Hannah Gutierrez Reed, the daughter of pioneering stuntman and armorer Thel Reed. She's got a prop master in her blood, so what went wrong? When you're 24 years old and working as head armorer for only the second time, a lot can go wrong. She was careless. According to reports, several crew members took the guns out that morning to shoot beer cans with live ammo for fun, then put them back without unloading them. The sheriff's department says Hannah was the last person to handle the gun. All of this sounds so unbelievably reckless, and it wasn't the first time. According to an exclusive with The Wrap, just 2 months earlier, Hannah was nearly kicked off the set of Nicolas Cage's Western, The Old Way, for failing to follow basic gun safety protocols. It was also her first time being head armorer. One of the crew members said Hannah, quote, walked onto the set with live rounds of blanks and no public announcement to the cast and crew, breaking established safety protocols. She carried rifles in each hand that were ready to be used in a scene. Firearms were aimed at people. She turned around and the pistols that were tucked under her armpits were pointing back at people. But not only that, a TMZ exclusive reported that her insurance company paid $50,000 to the family of a boyfriend so she couldn't be sued after she apparently gave him the keys to a motorcycle, even though he was drunk. You can't trust this woman. I mean, all you have to do is watch one of her TikTok videos to see she's not someone to be in charge of anything, especially guns.
Choke me like you hate me, but you love me. Low-key wanna date me when you
touch me with the lights off and my chains on, baby.
Clearly careless, irresponsible. Doesn't seem disciplined at all. So why would she be hired on Alec Baldwin's set? Well, it turns out Baldwin was the executive producer of the movie. He was in charge of picking and choosing who works on his set, and he picked Reed. Maybe he did it as a favor to her dad. Maybe Baldwin was just trying to cut costs. We told you last week that Alec Baldwin has a long history of making bad decisions and choosing Hannah Gutierrez Reed to manage the movie's firearms. Well, that was a bad decision and a deadly one. Joining us now to talk about proper gun safety techniques, something head armorer Hannah should have learned a long time ago. Duane Chapman, also known as Dog, the bounty hunter. Dog, if I may call you that, if I may. You've worked on TV sets for years, for decades. Have you ever come across anything so negligent or dangerous as what you see is going on here with Baldwin's set?
Well, no, sir, Eric. I could see that. I didn't, until I just watched what you said, knew about her background. So pardon the pun, but she needs to bite the bullet. She needs to get out of doing that for the rest of her life. You don't want to ruin, a young girl's life like that, but that is a terrible mistake. Now, that's human error. I don't know if it could be criminal. And you remember Bruce Lee's son, Brandon, was killed the same way, only in the gun that they had when they shot it in the morning, another connection, using the guns and shooting them all day, there was a piece of a .44 caliber lead in the gun, and when he shot the blank, it forced it into Brandon's chest. So that, I think, wasn't as much human error as this is human error. I mean, sorry, you're fired, and it's terrible. I know that Mr. Baldwin he tells it like it is in his way, and people that tell it like it is, they're always being, targeted. I don't think it was. I've never seen him cry, even on Saturday Night Live. And I know he was crying after it happened. He was very shook up. I don't think it's his fault at all. I have my good friend is Martin Sheen. Him and Charlie, I think they both won Academy Awards for that Vietnam movie. And they had so many guns going off, 50 calibers, boom, 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 like that. This was a human error. That's what this was.
Yeah, Dog, the error being that the gun was loaded with a live round instead of a blank. The error being that the gun was it wasn't checked. So you talk about the Sheen movies where there are a lot of guns, and there's someone called an armorer, someone who's responsible for firearms on sets. But is there, don't you got to point a finger somewhere. Like, okay, no one wanted anyone dead, but there's something called negligent homicide too, Dog.
Yeah, that's, with it, that's allegedly with criminal intent. You still have to have some kind of criminal intent. I was lucky enough to do a lot of shows with Peter Lankop, who was the head of Y50. And let me tell you, they go through those guns. They don't do that. And they don't go target practicing early in the morning and then use those guns on set. You don't do that. So who's ever in charge of that crew? That's not good either. So, and in New Mexico, I don't know the laws about just going out there in the prairie and start shooting stop signs. There'll be investigation through the whole thing in New Mexico.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that anyone should be held criminally liable for it, but I just say there has to be some, after Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee, got killed, things changed on movie sets. They changed things on movie sets. But here, this feels like they went back to the old Wild West days of nothing's changed. This is pre-Brandon Lee stuff where a firearm is a dangerous piece of equipment. It needs to be respected and treated that way. And it was after Brandon Lee was killed. But now we're back to, hey, let's go shoot some beer cans and use the same gun to hand it to Alec Baldwin live. It's crazy,
right.
Dog.
Yeah, it's, a word that I'm a lot older than you, but what our fathers would say, lackadaisical. And when you're lackadaisical with the firearm or anything that could take another human's life, that's human error. I don't think like you that it's criminal, but she should never be put in that position ever again. Anything to do with firearms, you're out, sister.
Hi, Rob Carson here. If you love watching Newsmax, you're really going to love listening to our new podcast. It's called the Newsmax Daily. I host it, and I give you the best briefing of the big news of the day, top newsmaker interviews, and even, yes, a few laughs. I know it's hard to believe. So if you're driving, walking, exercising, just about anywhere, you can connect with the Newsmax Daily with me, Rob Carson. Find our podcast online or go to iPhone, Spotify, iHeart, Stitcher, and more, and start listening today.